Come and knock on our door.
Three's Company rerun. This memo from corporate says this Friday, January 6th, the Nutriground with Corey Johnson will not be seen. Instead, 4 straight reruns of Three's Company. First hour will have Suzanne Summers. The second hour will be Don Knotts. Thank you, Mr. Drew Brees, for canceling the Three's Company programming. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson with you. Not only is it a Fantasy Friday edition of the program, have you been outside? Have you looked outside the window? Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I don't know how you get a better day than this. San Diego, Honolulu type weather, mid-60s, blue skies. If you can snap a photo of a cloud and send it to us, I'll give you a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate. There's not a cloud in the sky. You're going to have to do it from another state, I guess. No, gorgeous day in New Orleans. Get outside. Overnight, we'll drop about 10 degrees. When you wake up in the morning, might be mid-50s. And we'll creep back up into the mid-60s tomorrow and another gorgeous day. Absolutely incredible, beautiful weather. Get outside and enjoy it already. Seriously. Doesn't get any better than this. Doesn't get any better than this. Damar Hamlin, breathing tube removed, addressing his teammate. Love you, boys, on a conference call. The coach goes into the auditorium with the players. Hey, I got a special treat for you today, and then goes to the video and, the live connection with Damar Hamlin. Awesome. Love you, boys. Incredible. Having that doctor on the field was so key. Those defibrillators, medical staff, real physicians, real doctors, an MD right there going, man, this guy's not breathing. You don't have a pulse. I mean, immediately doing the chest compressions, which got blood flowing to vital organs, including the brain, while there was no heartbeat. And then the defibrillator coming on, and the rest is history. Absolutely fantastic news about Damar Hamlin. And you've really got to give credit. You really got to give credit to Gail Benson, stepping up big time, giving a bunch of AEDs, defibrillators to Nord and the Jefferson Parish Recreation Department. I mean, those things aren't cheap. Spending tens of thousands of dollars, might have been north of $100,000, and setting up Nord and Jefferson Parish playgrounds with these defibrillators. Mrs. Gail Benson, the Saints, the Pelicans. It's absolutely pathetically sad. The Saints Pelicans released a statement saying as much. About an hour later, LaToya, the Destroyer Cantrell, releases a statement kind of hooking her wagon on to that. It was mind-blowing. It was typical LaToya, the Destroyer Cantrell. Not doing anything, just yapping and talking, junkie Cantrell, trying to figure out the next trip she can go on. But literally jumping on this bandwagon of what the Saints did. No, it's sinful behavior. It's deplorable. It's beyond not right. It's incredibly sad. It's incredibly pathetic. Gail Benson, the Saints and Pelicans, step up big time. They do the right thing. New Orleans Saints and Pelicans provide automated external defibrillators, AEDs, to local recreational facilities. And then a little while later, the mayor, City of New Orleans, announces Nord to receive defibrillators from the Saints and Pelicans. The City of New Orleans, grateful. The Pelican Saints partnering with us. They're not partnering with you at all, Mayor. Not partnering with you at all. Nord and the Jefferson Parish Rec Department. The mayor essentially, I'm not kidding you, I've never seen this before. Takes the Saints, press release, pulls out like JP, Jefferson Parish Recreation Department, and keeps the Nord part in and basically takes it as her own. Tries to hook onto that wagon. Unbelievable. You want to be a bandwagon jumper? Join Tulane, LaToya Cantrell. Act like you're a Tulane Greenway fan. They'll embrace anybody that wants to be a fan. Go get an Angry Wave shirt because you are angry. Gail Benson, just all class. Thinking forward. Gail Benson's a winner. She has like a Fortune 500 type thing with the NBA, the NFL. These are, NBA, NFL, cities all around America have them. They're run at a certain level. Bigger and better than New Orleans, sadly. I wish we could keep up. It's like Latrim. We have a few entities. Tulane University, a few entities like the NFL, the NBA, the Saints that are Fortune 500 like. Gail Benson, the Saints, the Pels. Boy, this DeMar Hamlin thing is just a crusher. Let's make sure that never happens on a playground in New Orleans or Jefferson Parish. We're talking about 800,000-900,000 folks in our populations, hundreds of thousands of children. The Saints and Pels stepping up, and it's brilliant. Got to give them praise, respect. But then LaToya the Destroyer Cantrell tries to hook her wagon to that train. Here's the problem. The Saints and Pels, Miss Benson's train is like, a European bullet train. And LaToya the Destroyer is like Petticoat Junction, not even an Amtrak train. I mean, it really was sad and pathetic. It was embarrassing. When I saw it and read that release, I was like, partnering? Had nothing to do with it. It was not her idea at all. Zero. If you would do something yourself, Mayor, seriously, you wouldn't have to jump on other folks' bandwagon. Partnering with us? Really? The Saints and Pels did it entirely on their own. Partnering. No partnership. Taking credit for what others do. Do something yourself besides a junket, hanging out in your French Quarter apartment that isn't yours. It's mine. It's mine. It's the taxpayer's apartment. It's for official public use, not personal use. Closet with your clothes, your soap, your shampoo, your toothbrush, your sheets, your bedding, some of your furniture and artwork on the walls, plants on the balcony, putting up a cheesy, probably not approved, one of those little cheesy bamboo screens so the next door neighbor can't, look onto her side of the balcony because she's so paranoid. You folks are stalking me. Lee Zurich's stalking me. No, Mayor. Lee Zurich accessed your cameras, the City of New Orleans cameras, French Quarter Corporation cameras, that hack board where all the board members you appointed. It's your group of losers that set up the camera. That's a good thing. Modern technology, but it's your cameras that busted you. No, the mayor is tiring, huh? Hey, it is a Fantasy Friday. Bing. Let's 86 the mayor and move on to good stuff. A great one tonight, Nets and Pels at the Smoothie King Center. Car break-ins, NOPD to patrol those hot spots tonight. I keep calling on a New Orleans Guardian Angel group. Unarmed, no defense tactics, and know the law. And you put a bunch of them out there, that would be a major deterrent for these jokers, these juvenile criminals that are all over New Orleans, like the ones that beeline down the Earhart Expressway and invaded the Creek's apartment in River Ridge in Harahan. Ridiculous. Now, we'll see how that goes tonight. Hey, fall enrollment at Tulane, up 20%. Hey, Scott Cowan, you remember you wanted to get rid of athletics, de-emphasize athletics, de-emphasize football? Speaking of gone, 86, and so glad Scott Cowan has nothing to do with Tulane and hasn't for years. Fitz, the president, Dan and the AD, Fritz, the head football coach, has taken Tulane up to an entirely different level. And something Cowan could never understand, sports is marketing. 20% increase in enrollment for the fall at Tulane. 20% increase. And have you been on the Green Wave campus? Absolutely incredible. And now it's not going to just be Miss Benson, Goldring, Glazer, Slayton. It's not just going to be those regular donors. It's going to be a lot of other folks donating now to Tulane Athletics. Hey, we'll talk a little Green Wave. Fletcher Mackel joins us next. Michael Hecht, Frank Brigtsen, and special guests. Don't move.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
When you think of Fury's restaurant in Metairie, you think about fresh local fish like flounder, snapper, and speckled trout, fried, broiled, or grilled. Fury's restaurant in Metairie.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, the premier day spa experience, now with 4 area locations. Canal at Carrollton, on the North Shore in Slidell, in Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana, and now in Metairie, West Esplanade at Transcontinental. The Woodhouse Day Spa.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anyway. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" And he said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your blue socks. NoAC.com, your blue socks.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river.
Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Gorgeous day, Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Hey, coming up in the 5 o'clock power hour, we'll start things off with Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans, Inc. Boy, I posted some photos of Nashville, of Austin, cranes in the sky, lots of construction, pretty nauseating. We've been pretty stagnant in New Orleans. Our boom that like Austin and places like that, Nashville, Charlotte, our boom was like the 70s into like the early 80s. About 25 modern high-rise buildings in New Orleans were built during that era. It's been pretty stagnant, zero growth for the last 40 years or so. Michael Hecht, we'll talk about that in the 5 o'clock powwow and some positive stuff too. Frank Brigtsen will join us in the 5 o'clock power hour with special guest. We're going to surprise Frank. He won the Ella Brennan Award last year. We've got the Ella Brennan Award winner for this year joining us, and Frank doesn't know about it. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Stick around for that in the 5 o'clock power hour. Uh-oh. Travers Mackel wasn't available. So we're going to the bench. Travers, come on, dude. Make some time for us. Fletcher Mackel joins us instead. What up, Fletch?
Not a lot, Corey. Beautiful day here in New Orleans. Taking a little walk on the bayou. I feel like it'll offset the beautiful walk on the bayou to tolerate some of your nonsense. I feel like it's an even trade-off.
No, I think that's fair enough. Blue sky, 65 degrees. How can Corey Johnson bring down a gorgeous day like that, Fletch?
So you know what? I'm not going to give your big reveal away, but I don't work in the culinary industry, obviously, but I do love food in New Orleans and the celebration of all our great culture. I think I ate at the restaurant today, owned and run by this year's winner. So
let me ask you a question. Was she cooking there today?
She was, in fact.
Okay, so you were right off Canal Boulevard, weren't you?
Correct. A wonderful place. My mom and I had lunch today there. We sat outside. It was a gorgeous day, and she was amazing, and I think she deserves all the accolades she gets. So I don't want to ruin Frank Brigtsen's surprise, but I'm not going to say a name, but I thought that's who it was, so I'm glad you just confirmed it.
Yep. We're not going to ruin the surprise. He's working right now in the kitchen. I don't think he's checking out the show yet. We're going to sneak Susan Spicer onto the program. I called her over at Rosedale. Hey, why didn't you call me? I would have loved to have joined you. Well, not so much you. I would have loved to have seen your mom again.
True. Yeah. So we, again, it was kind of an impromptu thing. She had some lunch plans and they got canceled. So she called me and I was just off of work randomly running some errands. So we just decided to meet at Rosedale and got a great table outside, and the food is always amazing. And so, so it was a great day.
Yeah, it is a great day. It's a cool little spot. A lot of folks don't even know where it is. I just say, Canal Boulevard. I guess it was a K&B at one time. It's like a Dollar Tree or something now. It's about a block and a half back. I guess for folks, Fletch, like, your old man, my old man, they probably remember the police station there. I think it's like in an old police station building or something.
So it was an old police station, and they still have like some of the remnants of that around the place. It was like an old police precinct, 70 years ago.
Yep.
And the building was owned by the city and was run down, and Susan bought it, renovated it. And look, she's always had a great product. When she had Mondo and Lakeview, it was great.
Yep.
And I love Rosedale. Rosedale, I think, is so underrated because it's a great casual place. Like, you don't have to be fancy or elegant. You can do good food at a good price in a comfortable, cool place. And she, to me, has just mastered that here.
Will you call me next time so I can meet you and your mom at a place like that?
I guess we'll take it under advisement.
Jeez, that's pathetic.
Nicely.
I give this guy a Weber barbecue pit. It's sitting in the box at his house. He's going to re-gift it to someone else. You know what he's getting next time? A bag full of dog poop. That's what I'm going to get you next time. Wow.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, we'll consider it. I'm not getting invited. I'm going to just go directly to your mom. I'm going to go over your head. It's like when I line up, guests from the city of New Orleans. I call the person that's supposed to line them up or email them. I get the runaround. I just I text the person directly, the police chief, the DA. Boom, they're on the show. I'll just call your mom directly.
Do it.
Yep.
Do it.
And it'll be, hey, honey, it's Mom. You want to join me and Corey for lunch at Rosedale? That's what you're going to get. All right.
Sure.
Let's get into it. Hey, Fletch, it really doesn't get any better than this Damar Hamlin story. The breathing tube is removed, addressing the teammates. Love you, boys. This is just a great story. I really want to see that video, Fletch. And I want to see the video when they go, hey, Damar, you remember your toy fundraiser, your GoFundMe site? You're trying to raise $2,500. You exceeded the goal by $471 and raised $2,971. It's now at like $8 million.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, the outpouring, rarely do you see an outpouring of support nationwide like this, but because of it being a nationally televised game, and I think most people have had either played sports, know someone who plays sports, have kids who played sports, family members who played. So when you see something like that, that's just such a freak injury, and you can see the shock and the scare on people's faces, you know how serious it is. And I think we can talk about it a little bit more now in a positive way like you are, because it looks like he is going to come through this, which is remarkable and a true testament to the great medical people that were on the field to apply CPR and having the
defibrillator.
The defibrillator there. So again, it's going to be one of those stories that, I don't know if Damar Hamlin ever plays football again, but the fact that I think one of the things that I saw, which I thought was really great and kind of even got me a little choked up, was when he came to and they realized, he's got full, cognitive function. And he asked, did we win the game? And they said, you won the game of life. And I thought that was a really strong statement.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just great. Everybody all on the same page, it's just, it is, it'll choke you up. It's humanity, America, people at their greatest. And like 250,000 folks have donated. It's great. I just love it. I really want to see the video when they show him, hey, dude, it went from $2,900 to $8 million,
Right. No, I agree. I agree.
It's crazy. Hey, Fletch, speaking of Damar Hamlin, the Dome could be a potential neutral site AFC title game venue, correct?
It could be, because of obviously some of they're going to find a place if they have to play it on a neutral site, Vegas, New Orleans, probably a domed type stadium in good weather. If it gets that far, because of some of that game is the first NFL game that was canceled since I think 1935 I saw. I mean, you realize during COVID, they never had to cancel a game. They did some crazy stuff, moved games to Tuesdays, Wednesdays, changed the schedule. But this one now affects, obviously, what is going on with the playoff seedings. And so I thought they should have just made it easy and just said, hey, look, we're dealing with an unprecedented situation. It was a tragic situation, and we just have to deal with it. The standings are based on winning percentage, and we're just going to go with that and move on. But no, now they've got, if the Ravens win, it's the Ravens and the Bengals, their playoff game will be determined by a coin toss. We've got, if Buffalo and Kansas City both win, the AFC Championship game will be at a neutral site. So a lot of moving parts because of the fact that the game was secondary until you knew Hamlin was safe and in the clear. But now that it looks like he's going to be fine, the logistics of getting the season back on track, it seemed to be a little bit more precarious than I think people thought.
I don't know if selfish is the word, but I'd like to see that game in New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that for the sake of, let's just say it's Buffalo, Kansas City, I do think selfishly I would love to say, wow, we get to cover a bonus game, an AFC Championship game that two of the best quarterbacks in football, if that's who it is.
Plus 70,000 fans from Kansas City and Buffalo in New Orleans, filling up hotel rooms, coming in for a few days, partying. It would be fantastic.
Yeah. Look, I agree completely. I do feel, though, like it would be slighting. Like if the game could be in Detroit, which is like 5 hours from Buffalo, I do think it would be more fair to their fans to keep it someplace. Again, look, I think people come to our city and love it. I mean, Buffalo fans were here like for Thanksgiving weekend last year. I remember when they came down here and they were everywhere. And when Kansas City came here during COVID, same thing. Even during COVID, they had fans travel down here and you saw them.
Yep.
So I think they would love a trip to New Orleans, the good weather we have.
Yeah, exactly. Kansas City and Buffalo would love to get out of the cold weather. I wonder if the NFL is considering like what you're sort of suggesting, where maybe some of the fans could physically drive to the location.
That's the one thing that I do think would be unfair. Like, let's just say, I think Buffalo is a great team, and they've been one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl based on Vegas's odds all season long. And you look at them and you go, with Josh Allen and the team they have, I do think it would be a little bit unfair to them and their fan base to say, okay, the AFC Championship game is going to be in New Orleans. That's cool. And you're right. Bills Mafia is known to travel and come big.
Yep.
But would it be easier for them to say, hey, Detroit has a dome stadium. They already played a game there because of a snowstorm and they packed the place. It's a 5-hour drive. And even from Kansas City, it's a little closer for them. So if this game is hypothetically moved, I do wonder is New Orleans a really viable option?
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I never thought about the driving part. Fletcher Mackel's with us. It's another edition of Fridays with Fletch. Don't move, New Orleans. Coming right back. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Come to Fausto's Italian Bistro. Age-old Italian recipes like the calamari fritti or spaghetti and meatballs. Lunch Monday to Friday, dinner Monday to Saturday. 530 Vets, a block before Dorignax. Fausto's Italian Bistro.
Kanye West was seen shopping at Super Discount Store in Chalmette.
I am Shakespeare in the flesh. Walt Disney, Nike, Google.
Okay, I think Kanye was talking about something else entirely. Super Discount Store on Paris Road in Chalmette.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Enjoy outdoor dining on the streetcar line, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, the finest in Middle Eastern cuisine, Carrollton at Jeanette, Lebanon's Cafe.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply. For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Yeah, you right. Hey, I mentioned Michael Hecht will join us at the top of the 5 o'clock power hour. That segment's always brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant that is hiring, by the way. Go to their website, latrim.com, for a full listing of positions available. Latrim spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M, latrim.com. Shout out to a new follower, listener, Lester down into Paris, Chalmette, St. Bernard, where life is hard, hard, hard. I think he lives in the bottom of the old Kaiser aluminum plant tower. Anyway, Fletcher Mackel's with us. Another edition of Fridays with Fletch. Why we do this segment, I do not know. Well, I do know. Mrs. Mackel sends us a check every week. We kind of prostitute ourselves like that. And the check goes through. Hey, Fletch. Hey, hey, Corey. Boy, Tulane Athletics in an entirely different place. Fletch, I'm going to be honest with you. I know you're going to go, you're an optimist. I always thought Tulane could be a winner in football. Not at this level. Not even with Willie Fritz. I was like, 6-7 wins. You get a good QB or a good running back. You might get to 8, 9, or 10. And I'm like, that'll be good enough. I'm kind of thinking that. Like, I got lulled into sort of that. And I don't know what it is. Just being here all this time. Tulane being so lame all this time. Pitt's the president. Dan and the AD. Fritz, the head coach, has transformed Tulane athletics, Tulane football specifically, to an entirely different level. Proof's in the pudding. Something Scott Cowan never understood. I think you were doing weather in Alexandria, Fletch, but believe it or not, I was doing sports talk about 20-something years ago. Cowan was trying to de-emphasize football and athletics. I called the guy Oliver N. Blue. He was essentially a board member that was against all these changes, was my key source, got a second source and kind of broke the story. Scott Cowan was really ticked off at me, ignoring me when I went and tried to shake his hand outside the dome. Literally turned his back on me. I was like, are you an adult man? And then I just walked away from him. Tulane football now is at an entirely different level. Proof's in the pudding. Fall enrollment, Fletcher, up 20%. Unbelievable.
Yeah, our reporter, one of our news reporters, Morgan Lentis, did the story on Tuesday, and she did an interview with President Fitz, where literally when they talk about like athletic achievement, and nationally we've talked about schools, and Tulane's in a different category than some of these schools, but like when St. Peter's went that miracle run a few years ago in the NCAA tournament, and like you see schools that like Loyola Chicago ending up in the Final Four. Wow. And like the national advertisement, he said the same thing. That's a positive publicity for Tulane and New Orleans that you cannot put a price tag on. And no one will ever convince me that's what I always say, the power of sports, professional sports in New Orleans, major college sports, major events. when you see our city, when our city hosts, I'm not a wrestling person, but when our city hosts WrestleMania, that goes out to millions of people worldwide. That is positive publicity that you cannot put a dollar figure on. Same thing for Tulane. The number of applicants are up. The number of donations are up. Everything they have is going in a positive way, not just because of football, not entirely because of football, because they're a great institution and do great things, but the profile is elevated on a national level because of your football team and what they were able to do this year. And
Yep.
I'll stand a little different than you. I have been a Willie Fritz guy. There were people telling me, I remember back to when they hired Curtis Johnson from the Saints in 2011. Willie Fritz was at Sam Houston State, and there was a contingent of Tulane people telling me, Willie Fritz has got to be the guy. Then Willie went on to Georgia Southern and eventually got here. I actually always believed, and if anything, some Tulane people got upset at me because I thought Willie Fritz was always capable of making this team a lot better than 6-6, like they were for 3 straight years, basically. 6-6, 6-6, and 6-5 with COVID because they lost the game.
Yep.
I thought they should have been better than that. I thought Willie Fritz, and now I know he is the guy who can take this team. They may not go 10-2 next year, but I certainly think they're going 8-4, 9-3, and they may go 10-2. I always felt like Willie Fritz could have this program on equal footing to a program like SMU. I mean, you look at SMU in Dallas and you say these schools and these athletic programs mirror each other, but yet like in the last 10 years, SMU has produced like 3 10-win seasons, a 9-win season. I always thought, why can't Tulane do that? And I have always thought Willie Fritz was the guy. And so a couple of years ago, people got down on me because I said, he's better than that. They're better than that. And this is a letdown of a season when you keep going 6-6 because you're better than that.
The SMU, the Vanderbilt, the Duke, the Stanford models prove that a high-end, academic school, Tulane's up top 40 in the country academically, can have great athletics. And yes, something like I said, Scott Cowan never understood. And you have mentioned it all the time, how it's a great marketing tool. You mentioned donations, we can name them, Fletch, it's Gail Benson, it's the Yeomans, it's the Hertz, it's the Goldrings, it's the Glazers, it's the Slaytons. Am I missing anyone? I mean, that's about it. When it comes to major contributors, that's all of a sudden changing now. There's going to be dozens and dozens, not 5 or 6. I'm talking the major contributors.
Without question.
No, it's just a whole different deal. I was about to tweet before the game was over, before we knew if Tulane was going to win or not. One of the greatest college football games I've ever watched. Was it one of the greatest you've ever watched?
No doubt. No, I mean, look, it was one of the greatest for people who aren't even Tulane fans. Just watching that game. I mean, think about this. Look, I know USC. I think Lincoln Riley's a really good coach. I think Caleb Williams is a generational type talent at quarterback. I get USC the last few years has been down. They were in the playoff until they got upset by Utah in the Pac-12 championship game.
Yep.
That is a blue blood program with, I think, more Heisman Trophy winners than anybody, or one of the top 3 Heisman Trophy winners in the country. The number of Heisman Trophy winners they've had.
Yeah, I think they're one.
Wait, what?
I think they're number 1.
I think they're number 1 for most Heisman Trophy winners. But here's the thing. That is a traditional, true blue blood college football program. And Tulane was on equal footing with them. And then they pull away. And I think everybody thought, okay, here we go. The big boy team, like they're going to pull away. And then everything Tulane showed, down 15 with a few minutes to go, and to rally like that on that type of thrilling finish. Look, it was the best game I remember watching since Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl, when Boise State kind of announced their presence, so to say, on winning that crazy game, 17 years ago or whatever it was. So, yeah, without question, one of the most exciting, thrilling, fantastic games I can remember seeing. And the fact that if it wouldn't have been Tulane, if it would have been USC and UCF, I would have said, wow, that was a great game. But the fact that it's Tulane and the team we cover in our city just makes it that much, more special and memorable. It's something we'll be talking about 20 years from now.
No, forever, for the rest of our lives. It's forever, and it's great, Down by 15, 4 minutes to go. First off, USC could not stop Ty J. Spears. Could not stop him. He got over 200 yards. Tulane could not stop Caleb Williams. USC didn't punt. You want to know how you stop Caleb Williams, Fletch? You get a safety and bench him. And that kid rolling his eyes, looking at the sky. That's the only way Tulane wins, is keeping him on the bench. The safety was incredible. And then that last drive and the touchdown with 8 seconds left, and you need a replay to verify it. Unbelievable. And the crowd, Fletch, geez, man, 30+ thousand, much louder than USC, at least on the television set.
No, I mean, I think that, Sharif, I joked, my colleague Sharif Ishak at WDSU went, and, we try to equally pick the trips that we go on. And I told him that I think I get to take the next 3 because he got to be there for that one. And I think we all wanted to be there for that one. But he posted some videos, and it was 3/4 of the stadium was Tulane. And look, I think we understood that neither one of these schools, they're both private schools in urban cities. This isn't like a state school where, LSU travels 50,000 to their mega games, or, Tennessee brought 30,000 people to Baton Rouge for a regular game. Tulane had about 30 or 35,000 people there, which was unbelievable for them. I'd say Southern Cal had 15, 20,000, but they were also a little bit discouraged that they weren't in the playoffs. So I don't know if their fan base was quite as geeked up for it, so to say, as the Tulane fan base was. But nonetheless, it was just one of those moments. Look, I was there. I was at the Wilson Center when the buses pulled back up. I went live. That's how big it was for us. Sharif was in Texas. I was there for the 10 o'clock news as the buses pulled up, and we had, a couple of hundred fans out at Wilson Center greeting the team when they came back. It's something that if you had any connection to Tulane, you were following that, traveling to Texas, showing up to support the team. It was really special.
I had Troy Dannon on the program, Fletch. A sports nutrition center is coming, something they say they desperately need. And I love what Dannon said. He goes, I don't know. Are we going to build just a standalone building, or are we going to build a football complex? And I think they're gonna. And the sports nutrition center will be in there, new locker rooms, auditorium, taking it to another level. He's smart. He's like, we might build on top the Hertz Center. We might build somewhere else. He did mention that old Rosen Hall spot on Claiborne. Right now, Tulane University has that reserved for academics, maybe a new entrance or gateway from that part of the campus or something like that. But great stuff going on at Tulane. Hey, Fletcher Mackel's with us. Another Fridays with Fletch coming right back.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here, and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring, and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan. Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com. Rouse's Markets means convenience. Every one of our 65 locations opens at 7 a.m., some at 6:30. And they're open until 10 p.m., with some staying open till 11 or even midnight. Convenience. Rouse's Markets. Tastes like home.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see. What about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became number one for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Have a painting project but can't decide on the perfect color? At Helm Paint and Decorating, we offer half-pint paint samples in any Benjamin Moore color for under $5, so you can test potential paint colors before investing in a full gallon.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
When you think of Fury's restaurant in Metairie, you think about the freshest local seafood anywhere. Shrimp, oysters, speckled trout, flounder, snapper, soft shells, crawfish. Fury's restaurant in Metairie.
The city's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa with 4 area locations: New Orleans, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and Metairie. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. NOLA.woodhousespas.com.
Recently, Kim Kardashian was seen at Super Discount Store in Chalmette.
Let's party.
Can you think of any other celebrities that won't sue us? Super Discount Store in Chalmette. The lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and cold beer. 3235 Paris Road.
Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Hey, Fausto's Italian Bistro opens in 7 minutes, and they'll roll for about 5 hours straight till 10 p.m. Sit at the bar, check out the Pels. Dine outside. It's going to be like 60 tonight. Or, of course, dine in their dining room. Fausto's Italian Bistro, some of the city's best Sicilian and Italian. Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets tonight for dinner. Hey, Fletch, the Pels are playing tonight. Leave your windows down, bro, if you're parking down there.
I'm parked in the dome with my pass, but it's really sad and tragic what's happening. You're right.
No, well, at least the NOPD, I like the interim chief. Been there like 30 years. Woodfork seems to know what she's doing, and they're going to add NOPD patrols. I don't know why we don't get some Guardian Angels, New Orleans version of Guardian Angels 2300 Fletch. Patrol the quarter 24/7, and then anytime there's an event at the Dome, the arena, the Sanger, you have a few hundred just walking around. That'll keep people away. The criminals.
Yeah, no, look, I agree. I was joking, and look, everybody throws out these ideas, and I don't work in law enforcement. I don't want to, overstep my boundaries, but I just keep thinking, I understand we have a police shortage, but could we get like 20 plainclothes officers to kind of stake out the parking lots tonight? Or you got a game Friday, you got a Saints game Sunday. It seems like it's happening. It happened at the Sugar Bowl. It happened at the last Pelicans game. It happened at the last Saints game.
Yep.
It just seems like if you know it's going to happen, could we maybe get like a police officer to stake it out and catch him in the act? And
it's 2023. How about getting some drones flying over these parking lots? You know what I mean? Seriously.
Even drones, look, I'll take a real-time officer and even if it's like a plainclothes person acting like they're, just drifting around. And when they see it happen, can hopefully apprehend whoever's doing it. It just seems like in today's, and I understand we have a manpower shortage, but it just seems like, these big events, it's not one time like every now and then. It's now becoming an every big event occurrence, and it's pretty sad.
No, what's sad is it keeps going on, and it takes the Saints and Pelicans to go, hey, City of New Orleans, wake up. There's a problem. And it takes now the NFL and NBA in New York are concerned. That doesn't fare well for future Super Bowls or NBA All-Star games, Fletch. You don't want that crappy reputation.
No, I mean, that's what I mean. It's just one of those things where, it's a black guy that we don't need right now. The Pelicans are doing so well. People from all over the region want to come and see them play, which is great. And now it's a deterrent because when they see, the crime stats or the news or what's happening, if you're thinking of living on the coast and coming over here, you may not want to, or the North Shore.
No, exactly.
Because you don't want that to be the case.
No, and there's a lot of people, I'm just going to say it, that are kind of jaded and cynical. That's why they moved to the suburbs or the exurbs to begin with. They're looking for any reason to not come into the city. The city needs to be more inviting for those kind of jaded, cynical folks who left in the first place. Hey, Fletch, I should have mentioned in the beginning when we mentioned DeMar Hamlin. How about Gail Benson and the Saints and the Pels stepping up? I mean, they probably dropped north of 100K. These defibrillators, these AEDs for Nord and Jefferson Parish Recreation Department. I mean, always getting bailed out by Gail Benson, man.
I would agree 110%. I think people have to understand the work they do and how vital she is to a lot of charitable causes and goodwill in this community. I mean, they didn't have to do that. And we talked to Councilman Scott Walker last night. We talked to Larry Barabino with Nord at WDSU.
Yep.
And they talked about how vital that is. That, look, there's kids that get hit in the chest that they need to have a trained person to operate a defibrillator, that this can truly save lives.
That De La Salle kid, right?
Yes. He sadly, tragically passed away because his parents have worked to try to get money to raise donations so schools can have more defibrillators because it would have saved their son's life. And she donated like 100 of them,
Yep.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Really, it's really great work that she's doing.
And her thinking that, the Saints and Pels, mind trust, thinking about that. The mayor hooked her bandwagon, hooked onto the bandwagon, act like she had something to do with it or teamed up with the Saints and Pels. No one thought about this but the Saints and Pels and maybe Nord and JPRD. So it's just great stuff, Mrs. Benson and the Saints and Pels. Hey, speaking of Pels, a good one tonight, 25-13 Nets, 24-14 Pels, Smoothie King Center. I don't know. I mean, Willie Green gets it done with you and I playing the guard positions, it seems like. But boy, no BI and no Zion, maybe no Larry Nance either, right?
I think Larry may play tonight. But so here's the thing. I made a prediction when the season started, the week before the season started, that the Pelicans and the Nets were going to meet in the NBA Finals. And people laughed me off of social media. I really wish that Zion and BI were playing tonight because this to me is a potential finals matchup. That the Brooklyn Nets are awesome. I love Steve Nash, but Jacques Vaughn taking over for him 6 games into the season. Jacques Vaughn has been a revelation at head coach. Kevin Durant has been the best player in the league and should win the MVP right now. And look, Brooklyn's always been deep. The last couple of years, they've been the biggest underachievers in basketball because Kyrie's a distraction and they've got problems off the court.
Yep.
But look, they've got Joe Tsai's a really good owner. Sean Marks is a really good general manager. And Jacques Vaughn can coach. They're a really good team. I would have loved to have seen the Pelicans play them with Zion and BI tonight, even just Zion.
Well, you remember Golden State comes in 2 games within a week and no Steph Curry. The NBA's got to figure that out when he's healthy too. Because the Pels are beat up, are the Nets resting any stars tonight that you know of?
I don't think so.
Okay. No, I was just curious. I mean, I don't want that for the fans, but you kind of want it so it kind of equals, Yeah,
no, I haven't heard anybody being out, because normally the teams do announce that before the game. When Golden State came here, New Orleans caught Golden State both times on a back-to-back where they had played the night before in Orlando, and then they had played the night before in Houston.
Yep.
So unfortunately, the Warriors they're a dynasty.
Yep.
Klay Thompson's missed a lot of time with injury. Curry's missed a lot of time with injury. So they sit out some back-to-back, which stinks for the fans. But this is going to be a great matchup. The only problem is New Orleans. Look,
Hey, Fletch, I got to let you don't hear Blue Boy barking. You don't understand what he's saying. He's saying, Fletch, we're hitting the top of the hour. Fletch, thank you. See you next Friday.
Why
Coming
wear
right
the
back.
same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, the premier day spa experience, is now more convenient than ever. Now open, the Woodhouse Day Spa, Metairie location, West Esplanade at Transcontinental. Metairie and Kenner's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Where can you find shish kebab in New Orleans? Lamb, beef, chicken, shrimp, plus all your other Mediterranean favorites. Lebanon's Cafe on the streetcar line. Lunch, dinner, and shish kebab. Lebanon's Cafe.
For years, you've been hearing about the virtues of Springfield Wellness Center and their successful treatment of over 1,000 individuals who overcame their substance addiction. Now it's your turn. Here's Springfield's founder, Paula Norris Metier.
Our Brain Restoration Plus Detox Treatment is an intravenous nutritional supplement that restores the brain's chemical imbalances. Our patients detox with minimal withdrawal symptoms. It also blocks the craving, which is unbelievable and which is why most people say they have a hard time believing, but it restores neuron function. Many treatment programs use one drug to get you off of another drug. At Springfield, we treat the problem. Addiction is first a brain disease. If you or a loved one suffer from substance abuse, please just give us a call.
Put your addiction behind you. Call Springfield Wellness Center now, 504-291-2800. That's 291-2800.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSAgency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSAgency.com.
When you think of Fury's restaurant in Metairie, you think about their daily lunch specials like red beans and rice, black-eyed peas, white butter beans, liver and onions. Daily lunch specials. Fury's restaurant in Metairie.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Good time. Anytime you need a payment. Good time. Anytime you need a free. Good time. Anytime you're from under. Not getting hassled. Not getting hustled. Keeping your head above water. Making a way when you can.
Temporary layoffs.
Good times.
Easy credit ripoffs.
Good times.
Scratching and surviving.
Good times.
Hanging in a toilet? That's what it sounds like to me, but that is not the line. Hanging in a toilet. Good time, yeah. Florida Evans with you. Yeah, you right. James Evans will be joining us soon. Walona, Mr. Booker, JJ, even little Jackson. What was her name on the show? It was the Jackson girl's name on Good Times. Anyway, I love that. When Florida Evans, don't you say it, James. Don't you say it. And James is just, he's mad. He's about to say it in Florida. Don't you say it. The kitchen and the bedroom. That's the place for you women, the kitchen and the bedroom. And then Florida implodes and James and her go at it. Oh, Good Times. I remember that one. That was a funny episode. My brother was dating this chick one time. They're watching Good Times. And everybody's winded and every time they walk into the apartment, they're winded and, you know, the elevator's not working. They have to take the steps. Near the end of the episode, the girl my brother's dating is like, why are they so winded? What's going on? I mean, the show's like probably titled Broken Elevator. She couldn't quite catch on to that. Anyway, Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Yeah, you right. Get outside and enjoy this day. Absolutely incredible. San Diego, Honolulu type weather. Sunny, mid-60s, and gorgeous out there. A Chamber of Commerce type day. Chamber of Commerce. I'm going back to like the 50s. Do we even have a Chamber of Commerce in New Orleans? I know we've got a Greater New Orleans Inc. in New Orleans. Michael Hecht is the man behind Greater New Orleans Inc. with a bunch of other folks that are busting their tail to make New Orleans more like Austin or Nashville when it comes to our economy and that type of stuff, without, of course, losing our great historic culture. Michael Hecht's with us again. How you doing, Michael?
Doing fantastic, KJ. I'm just got back from work. I got to go over and DJ an event over for New Society, and then I got a dinner with a group from Australia that's in town for a conference. So, you know, yeah, there's always it's a typical wild and wacky Greater New Orleans day. The good, the bad, and the king cake.
No, the ugly. DJ El Camino, the ugly. Don't forget that.
Yeah, but he's bad, like bad meaning good, like Michael Jackson bad, you know?
You're right. I stand corrected. Hey, every Friday when Michael joins us, this segment brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant. Hey, we often talk about Latrim and all those patents. It's like a battle between Latrim and Tulane. Boy, Tulane, that Cotton Bowl win, Michael. I remember Scott Cowan. He wanted to get rid of Tulane athletics 20-something years ago. I kind of broke that story and had a guy I called Oliver N. Blue, who was a board member who was giving me all this info. And then I got it verified by a second source within the athletic department and basically exposed all this stuff Cowan was trying to do. President Pitts gets it. Obviously, Dan, and he's an AD, he gets it. And Fritz is the football coach. Athletics can be used as an incredible marketing tool, Mike. I mean, you know it firsthand. Saints, Pelicans, Super Bowl, Final Fours, this millions of dollars in free advertising that is almost, you really can't even add it up. That Cotton Bowl win, that national exposure. Enrollment for Tulane in the fall is up 20%, Michael. That means money and dollars for the city.
Yeah, it's right. I think it's interesting that Mike Fitz, who comes from very much an academic and intellectual background from Penn Law School, he understands what this means at a strategic level. And what I texted him after the win is I said, I'm very interested to see what this is going to do, not just for enrollment, but for diversity of enrollment. It's a big deal. It's a good thing for the school. And, the reality is that Tulane is doing other things like their new marriage to LCMC after their divorce from HCA, or the $600 million that they're investing downtown. That actually is more important at a substantial level or substance level for the college and the city. But man, the Cotton Bowl win and how they did it, that is, invaluable.
Hey, wasn't Cowan a Penn guy too?
Cowan was a Case Western.
Okay, all right.
Out of Cleveland.
All right, okay. I thought he was a Penn guy too. No, Cowan just didn't get it, and Pitts does. And look where Tulane is now. I just mentioned 20% increase in enrollment. Plus, instead of like these half dozen folks that they go after for the big donations, like to build Yeoman, it's not just the Bensons, the Yeomans, the Hertz, the Goldrings, the Glazers, and the Slaytons anymore. There's probably a few dozen folks now that they can go and get the big bucks.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, Tulane, it's very exciting to see all the things that are going on there, because it's like Senator Moynihan said, if you want a great city, put in a great university and wait 200 years. And Tulane is how old? It's getting towards. It's
1850, I think. 1850,
Yeah.
I want to say. University of Louisiana originally.
That's right. So, yeah, that's it's great news on a bunch of levels. And I have to say, as somebody who, my grandparents used to live behind the old Tulane Stadium. I used to ride my big wheel in that rickety old thing. Politics dictate that I have to be supportive of LSU, but I've always been a Tulane guy, at heart. And so I do get special joy when the Tulane football bowl game kind of is more exciting than the LSU one.
We're visiting with Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. Michael, you're a Ivy League grad. I was on my bike riding through the campus just the other day. It's like an Ivy League campus, isn't it? Oh, and by the way, 1834. Okay.
So truly approaching 200 years.
Yeah.
Now, look, that Tulane campus, the Uptown campus,
it's incredible.
Is about as majestic as any you're going to find. It's gorgeous. And I think that under the direction that Fitz is taking it, Tulane is going to keep getting better and better, and the quality of the applicants going to keep increasing. And, what that creates is the talent for New Orleans to thrive, because what's happening now is that the economic development wins that we are getting tend to be people who have a connection to New Orleans and Louisiana, because they know what the real potential is here. And so even though our reputation is banged up at the moment, they're going to come back. So specifically, this Excella that we announced a few weeks ago, 150 jobs, average salary 140.
Yeah, the DC company, the DC tech company coming in.
Yeah, he's a Newman grad, so he's coming back. So these universities and even these high schools of today are our CEOs of tomorrow. And so, the better they are, the better our future prospects are.
Boy, there's so many new buildings on the campus, so many new dorms on the campus, renovated buildings, lots of trees, lush. You see the old Newcomb campus. It really is impressive. It's gorgeous. I had Troy Dannon on the AD. He said the old Rosen Hall lot on Claiborne, athletics can't build there. He's talking about building a football complex, a nutrition center, maybe on top of Hertz or somewhere else. I guess academics wants that maybe to be like a Claiborne, entrance to the campus. And that's probably a smart thing.
Claiborne's a little bit funny for Tulane because it's a massive street, but it's kind of like a service.
It's almost the back door. Exactly. I don't know if you're going to duplicate St. Charles Avenue, but you could make it inviting with that parking lot with buildings and structures there. Right?
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. Sorry, my silence was approval.
Nice.
I'm nodding.
Michael,
vigorously.
We've run out of time, which is a good thing because I was about to go off on those Nashville, Austin skylines that made me nauseous earlier this week.
Well, we just were meeting with a conference that's coming here.
10 seconds.
Summertime.
Sorry.
And this conference is about how you merge culture with economy. And I said, that is our plan. And Nashville, I love to hate them because they're a great model.
Yep.
But we're coming for you.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, let's talk Guardian Angels New Orleans next week. Love having you on the show, Michael.
Happy King's Day, brother.
Yeah, you're right, brother. Good point.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Young's Dry Cleaning with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Super discount store in Chalmette.
3235 Paris Road.
The lowest price allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and beer.
Worth the drive from anywhere.
If you're throwing a party and need wine, alcohol, and cold beer, super discount store in Chalmette.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Come to Fausto's Italian Bistro. Age-old Italian recipes like the calamari fritti or spaghetti and meatballs. Lunch Monday to Friday, dinner Monday to Saturday. 530 Vets, a block before Dorignax. Fausto's Italian Bistro.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSAgency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSAgency.com.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you, 5 o'clock power hour. We do it every week at 5:20. We head to Uptown, that little cottage on Dante Street. Frank Brigtsen joins us from his incredible restaurant. How you doing, Frank?
I'm doing great, Corey. TGIF.
TGI Friday. Yeah, you're right. Always a pleasure having you on. You know that, Frank.
Always a pleasure with you, Corey. Let's have some fun.
Yeah. Hey, last year you picked up the Ella Brennan Award, didn't you?
I did.
You heard who got it this year, huh?
I did. Yeah, I'm going next week. I'm so happy for my good buddy, Chef Susan Spicer, this year's recipient of the Ella Brennan Lifetime Achievement Award in Hospitality. I'll be there.
What do you
better
be? Uh-oh, who's that?
Uh-oh, who that?
How you doing, Susan?
Hey, I'm doing fine.
I couldn't help myself, Frank.
It is. Surprise!
I love it. Happy to be here.
Thank you, man. I know I've been thinking about calling you every day just to go like, what do I do? What am I supposed to do? How did you do this?
Just be yourself. That's all you got to do. And don't talk as long as I did.
That is not a problem. I'm a woman of few words.
We can't wait. We're so excited. Marna and I will be there.
It's going to be beautiful at the Ritz. I mean, the Four Seasons. I'm very excited. I don't know where I'm. Yeah.
It's going to be an elegant evening. Lots of fun, lots of good friends and family. And we can't wait to toast you.
And good food.
Yes.
I'm thinking. Anyway, I don't really know. Nobody's telling me anything. So.
Oh, you don't know. You're not supposed to know.
I don't. I know nothing.
That's how it was for me. All a surprise.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Looking forward to it. Although I am still trying to figure out what to wear.
Of course, that's the first thing I think of, right?
Well, yeah, kind of. Anyway, yeah, it's exciting.
I think it's extra special, Susan, because, this is named for the great Ella Brennan, who was such a pioneering woman in our community in so many ways, and you are too. And so this is a continuance of that example, and you continue to shine your light.
That documentary on Ella was just so great. I was, my mouth was just open the whole time going like, she did what? Oh my God. When they moved the restaurant and then her brother died and she was in charge and she just, she just forged ahead, she in a big way.
And what I remember about that was something I didn't know. And when they were at the original Brennan's on Bourbon Street, she wanted to, increase business. She went knocking on her neighbors' doors, all the bars, saloons, and restaurants on Bourbon Street, knocking on their doors, saying, let's get together and market ourselves. Not as a competition, but as a community. And that's so radical.
Yep. Yeah, but I really think it set the tone for the culinary community and the food and beverage community in New Orleans.
Exactly. We're still that way.
You want to get in a word in edgewise here, Corey?
We've
taken over. We've hijacked your shows.
Not at all. I'm kind of just sitting here smirking, loving the conversation, to be honest with you.
All right.
Now, Susan, I do have to question you on something. I'm a little worried. I had Fletcher Mackel on in the 4:00 hour. I have him on every Friday talking sports. You let him come in Rosedale today? You let him come in there to eat? What's up with that?
I know, and I wanted to go say hi, but we were too busy. Oh, my Lord. I guess it was just one of those beautiful New Orleans days. People wanted to sit outside, and they wanted their meatloaf sandwich and their, shrimp Creole, man, and then they just came for it. So we had a great, great busy lunch. I did see his mother, though.
That's good.
I did get to talk to his mother.
Clearly.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, the better half. Now, is the shrimp Creole going tonight as well at Rosedale?
Oh, yeah. Yes, it's a menu item. We do it with Louisiana rice and a big piece of fried eggplant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I might be in there tonight. So good.
Come on down.
Now, I did call Bayona today, and I'm like, maybe I'll go down there tonight because always jonesing for that shrimp with the black bean and coriander.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a big black bean fan or a big sour cream fan. I take the black bean cake. I take the sour cream. I take half a shrimp. I roll it around in that coriander. I don't know how you chefs know how all these things go together so good. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And it's just, I don't know, I guess experience and loving to eat and tasting a lot of things,
Yep. That lamb loin with the goat cheese. My God. Unbelievable.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, still doing it.
Don't even get me started on the sweetbreads. Oh, my God.
Oh, man. Yeah, I miss cooking the sweetbreads. I got to do them every now and then over here at Rosedale, just because I must have cooked, 5,000 portions of sweetbreads in my day.
Oh, at least, huh?
Yeah, I would think. I mean, I've never really calculated, but I love doing it and I love eating them. So.
Yeah, me too. I remember the first time I ever had sweetbreads was at Crochet.
Oh, yeah.
Now in New Orleans East, in the East?
Yeah, the original. This was on my 24th birthday a few years ago.
Wow.
I had never had them, but I wanted to try them. And oh my God, there was a
Well, what a great place to have your first sweetbread experience.
Yes. And
Gerard certainly knew what he was doing.
Everywhere I went, I ordered sweetbreads. And of course, they never matched that first time. But the one that we do at Brigtsen's occasionally is inspired by that version, which I think was Grenoble.
Probably. Yeah. That's still my favorite way to eat them, with the lemon and capers.
Yes.
I used to follow that cat around from the east. What was he like, off the Crowder or Reed exit, and then he went
Crowder.
and then he went to Esplanade in Metairie, and then to the Mid City Center on Bienville and Carrollton, I think, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he and his wife were great.
Eveline. Yeah, Eveline. And Gerard was so funny, man. His sense of humor was dry and French.
Oh, those French guys, they're pretty hilarious.
We had, they had a ritual of, they would close for a month in the summer like the French do. And the night before they went back to work, they would come to eat with us, with some friends, like a six top. And so one time, I said, well, let's treat them to dessert. So the server went out and said, Chef, would like to buy you dessert. And Gerard said, without missing a beat, he said, tell Frank I don't eat dessert. Give me $10.
Nice. Oh, man.
Hey,
oh, man.
Susan,
so funny.
Yes.
You answer this question first, then Frank, I want to hear your answer. The Gerards at Crozier, the Warren LaRousse, that was a couple of generations ago. Now you guys are that. Do y'all realize that?
You mean old?
No, like the seasoned world-class chefs that have taken the baton and kept that level of greatness, or even taken it up a level. Do y'all realize that? Do you know that, Susan? You kind of reflect back, a little introspection, like, wow. And maybe this Ella Brennan Award says that to you, like, I've arrived.
Right.
It certainly is, kind of the ultimate honor when it comes to, cooking and hospitality in New Orleans and the world. But I've been talking to a lot of people and about the award and about kind of it does cause you to reflect back and think about your whole career and all. To me, what it does is make me think about all the people not only that mentored me, but all the people that I've worked with and had so much fun with, and who I've seen go on to be successful. And, that's what really makes it, all the customers that have become friends. Frank knows about that. He's, I'm sure he knows pretty much 95% of the people in his dining room every night. And, the people that you work with and the people that you feed do become like kind of your whole social life, really. That's about it, because you're at your restaurant so much that you don't really always have much of a social life other than that. So so you get to be friends with your customers and your coworkers. But it's just a thrill. It's going to be fun to see all the people that they, even when they presented me the award, the people that I look up to the most, Frank was there and Donald Link was there, who, started his work with me as a sous chef way back in the day, started as a line cook, and now he's, got his little empire. And Adolfo Garcia, who, I've seen go from, when I first discovered him at Criollo, when I went and ate there and went, hey, whoever's in the kitchen at this place really knows this stuff. And then, followed him to, his other restaurants and and became his friend. It's just like that. It's great. It's really fun.
Yep. So good. Frank?
Yeah, but what was the ceviche restaurant that Adolfo had that was so great? His first restaurant that was his, Frank. You remember that one?
Not Rio Mar, huh?
Rio Mar.
Yeah, Rio
absolutely.
Mar.
Yeah, he went from Criollo to Rio Mar, and I used to go there constantly.
It was fabulous.
So good.
He kind of taught New Orleans, hey, you don't have to get a strip of filet or a ribeye, too. You can get these skirt steak and hanger and stuff like that.
Definitely.
Frank, how about you? You've kind of come to the realization that, this responsibility of taking the baton from the Warren LaRousse, the Paul Prudhommes, Gerard.
Well, when we first opened, I was considered, I remember Gene Borg's first review of us, and he says, like, I'm reinventing Creole cuisine. I'm like, I'm doing what? But, it's kind of like the hot new kid in the block, as Susan was when she opened Bayona. And all these years later, I'm now considered a traditionalist, an old school New Orleanian, carrying the torch of Creole cuisine. I still think I'm doing the same thing. But I like this perspective much better. This is something I am so proud of, to be in the continuum that was started or continued by Paul Prudhomme, Warren LaRousse, Gunther Preuss, Gerard Croget, Mike Roussel, all these wonderful chefs who were my heroes growing up. You know, you think about the original great chefs of New Orleans series that our friend John Shue created.
John Shue, yeah.
Who's still around. He was at my Lifetime Achievement last year. I'm sure he'll be here next week.
I hope so.
But these were my heroes, and to be part of that continuum is so special to me, particularly because I didn't go to culinary school. I learned on the job, and I was fortunate to learn in the kitchen from some of the greatest Creole chefs you've never heard of. The Stanley Jacksons, Raymond Suttons, Armand Jante taught me.
Armand! I was talking about Armand just the other day.
Yeah, he taught me. One day we made osso buco for staff meal. I mean, come on.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah, and you know, for Susan and I, we've been walking the same timeline and path for decades now, and we've seen the city change. We've seen the culinary scene change. And I admire Susan so much because one joke that I always say, and that's kind of true, is I'm not a great chef. I'm just a broken down old line cook. But Susan is still a line cook. She's not as broken down as I am. She wants
close, very close.
In there swinging the skillets and stuff. And that's what I admire so much about her. Because
I still love it. I still love it.
Cooking, you know, simple as that. Her greatest joy comes from cooking. And on point, what Susan talked about was that what we take away from our work is the people in the dining rooms and the people that are members of our staff. That's our joy in life. And that's the thing I'm most grateful for.
Ditto. But also, you know, that's something I try to pass on to my cooks, is just enjoying the process, you know, and just like, this is it, man. This is your years as a line cook. This is when you should be enjoying, you know, getting those pans hot and throwing that, then making that beautiful plate. And, you know, you don't have to necessarily be responsible for the ordering and the costing out and the this and the that and the, you know, but all you're doing is cooking right now. And that is so, I mean, it's so much fun. So great, you know, and at the end of the day, you know, job satisfaction is just, I still watch plates. I'm a plate washer. I go check the plates when they come back in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I don't like seeing food coming back. I like a clean plate.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey.
And, you know, with cooks especially, you know, they don't see the joy in the dining room. You know, in the back of the house, we have kind of tunnel vision. We're concentrated on our prep list and getting our station set, and we don't see the end result. And I think that's one thing that I like to remind my cooks of. You know, if I hear a compliment in the dining room, I'll bring that back to the kitchen.
Yeah.
Well,
that's fun of having a semi-open kitchen. People can kind of shout it through the window or the door as they go by, and then the cooks get to hear it too.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool. I love
one great thing that Warren LaRousse used to do, you know, he'd take off the white coat he was cooking in, put on a fresh new one, go walk out into the dining room. And I think some of that's like, let me make sure everything's going right. But I would think some of it's got to be, boy, I'm making people happy, and it's nice to see that I'm making people happy.
Yeah, that's what we do. I mean, we provide people a couple of hours of joy and happiness to celebrate what's good in life with family and friends. And that's the nut of what we do. And we have to always remember that.
Yeah. And going in the dining room, I mean, you know, I mean, that's part of it. People want to know that you're interested in their reaction. And, you know, every now and then, I mean, most of the time people are happy, but there have been times when I've gone up to the table and somebody said, yeah, this was really a little salty, or, you know, the turtle soup wasn't exactly what I was expecting, or, you know, so you got to take the bad with the good. But, you know, That's fortunately that doesn't happen too much. But
That's when you
as long as people know you're interested enough to hear what they have to say.
That's when you call Corey Johnson in, and he goes, "Get out of here! What are you talking about? This is fantastic." Hey Susan, and Frank,
Corey,
we don't
you have time for the funny Lauren LaRue story.
Yes, of course. If Susan does, yeah.
Sure.
So when the restaurant LaRue's was reaching its peak of popularity, the maitre d', of course, never wanted to say no, and he would put as many people in the dining room as he could. And Warren had some extra tables out back in the garage, and maitre d' would bring them in and, create a two-top where one did not exist before. He kept doing it, and Warren said, "Don't do that. It's too many people for the kitchen. We can't do the food right." And the guy kept doing it. So one day Warren went out into the garage with a saw and cut all the extra tables in half.
Wow.
Oh, man. Hallelujah. I'm sure the kitchen was very happy about that.
That's right up his alley.
Having a patio, when you have a big patio like we do, that adds like 50% more capacity. So, we got to be really ready on those nights when like tonight, it's beautiful out here.
Hey,
how many do y'all seat maxed out, Susan?
I would say, outside, I'm seeing, for 16, 20, we can seat like another 40 people outside.
Wow, that's a lot for that level.
Yeah, it is. When it gets going, it gets cranking, but it's fun. Yeah, but the other thing is on nights like that, everybody wants to be outside, so you have fewer inside usually too. But there are times where it's everywhere.
Patios.
But we like this.
This is the weather factor.
Frank, that Bayona patio might be the best outdoor dining spot in the city.
Absolutely.
It's a pretty place, and I mean, it's very romantic. That brick wall collapsed one time a few years ago, and we were just fortunate. It was about a week before Jazz Fest, and we were just lucky that it happened overnight and not in the middle of service. Oh my God. Yeah. It just had a little bit too much of a lean. I think that was, definitely post Katrina, but I don't know. I can't remember how many years, but it was probably about 5 years ago.
Susan, are you at Rosedale, Bayona tonight, or off tonight? I know you work.
I'm at Rosedale.
Okay.
I'm at Rosedale. I hang mostly at Rosedale these days. It's it's close to my house. It's kind of just where I want to be. It's a very personal restaurant for me. I did the fine dining thing for 30 something years, and so I'm kind of just segued out here. And I really enjoy it. I can just come in and cook whatever I please, and it's just a fun place for me to be.
Hey, Frank, you got any final thoughts about Susan and that Ella Brennan Award she's about to receive?
Well, I'm just so excited about it. And Susan, friend to friend, I just want you to have fun tonight. Don't worry about things. All you got to worry about is what you're going to wear.
All right. I'm still worried about that, but anyway. Well, and it'll also be fun to see who gets it next year. So it's great to be. I looked at all the people that have received it up to now, and I'm in very good company. And I was so happy to be part of your celebration last year. And I'm glad I'll be seeing you next week.
I'll be there.
All right. I'm going back to cook in the kitchen.
Susan, I might see you tonight. Susan, congratulations and thanks so much.
Thank you, Corey. I really appreciate it.
Frank, love having you on the show. You know that.
Always a pleasure, KJ. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you're right. To both of you. Boy, it doesn't get much better than that, huh? Susan Spicer, Frank Brigtsen joining us on the program. By the way, it's Brigtsens.com, the website. That number over there at Brigtsens, 861-7610. 861-7610. So good, Brigtsens in Bayona, my God, on Dauphine in the Quarter, one of the city's finest restaurants, just like Brigtsens. And yeah, I'm probably going to go to Rosedale tonight because it is outstanding. And I know Fletcher Mackel won't be there. Corey Johnson with you on a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Hey, Young's Dry Cleaning has been around since 1940. They're a New Orleans institution. There's a reason they're the best. They've been at it for 83 years. Outstanding service. They're great at what they do. To find out more, go online, youngsdrycleaning.com.
At Home Paint and Decorating, our paints are in it for the long haul. In fact, our top bench of more exterior paints come with a lifetime warranty. Not 25 years, not 50 years, we mean forever. You heard right. At Helm Paint, our top exterior paints have a lifetime warranty against chipping, peeling, and flaking. They also are mildew resistant. Imagine painting your home one time and being done with it. Visit any one of our locations today and make that once-in-a-lifetime purchase. Paint that has a lifetime warranty. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
When you think of Fury's restaurant in Metairie, you think about the freshest local seafood anywhere. Shrimp, oysters, speckled trout, flounder, snapper, soft shells, crawfish. Fury's restaurant in Metairie.
The city's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa with 4 area locations: New Orleans, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and Metairie. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. NOLA.woodhousespas.com.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
For years, you've been hearing about the virtues of Springfield Wellness Center and their successful treatment of over 1,000 individuals who overcame their substance addiction. Now it's your turn. Here's Springfield's Dr. Richard Medier.
For over 20 years, we've successfully treated patients with substance abuse issues and have also had success with patients suffering from chronic stress, depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. We uniquely address restorative issues at the cellular level that impact mental health. We treat our patients with an intravenous nutritional supplement that helps restore various brain functions. Most of our patients have greatly reduced withdrawal symptoms. We work toward maximizing nutritional interventions while utilizing traditional medication interventions when needed. Our treatment works toward restoring the brain's health while returning the patient to a normal, dependent-free life.
Put your addiction behind you. Call Springfield Wellness Center now, 504-291-2800. That's 291-2800.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center. It's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson, where the grass hasn't been cut in weeks or months. There's a lot of trash and garbage on the neutral ground, maybe even a person or two taking a nap. And oh, someone didn't pick up the dog
I didn't want to take away from Frank and Susan Spicer and tell my own LaRuth stories because I could rattle off a bunch. I knew Warren LaRuth. He was just he's like Susan and Frank, world-class talent and humble. Elizabeth Taylor goes into LaRuth's restaurant on Franklin Avenue in Gretna on the West Bank. I think it was and continues to be, or I shouldn't say continues to be, it doesn't exist anymore, but the only, I want to say, Michelin 5-star restaurant in the history of the city. I think that's right. Anyway, Elizabeth Taylor is in New Orleans and goes into LaRuth's. She's sitting at a huge table. She's at the head of the table. There might be 10 other people, 12 other people at the table. Huge crowd with her, entourage. And they're ordering all the stuff off the menu, drinking a lot of wine and drinks, having a great time. Warren LaRuth changes his white coat to a clean one, and he goes out and he's making sure everybody's having a good time in the restaurant, checking on everybody for a few minutes. Goes up to Elizabeth Taylor's table, introduces himself. She's nice. And he says, hey, I was wondering if I could get a photo with you. And Elizabeth Taylor says, sure, if you'll take care of the check. And Warren LaRuth, without missing a beat, says, I don't need a photo with you, and just went straight back into the kitchen and made Elizabeth Taylor pay her bill like she should. Now, Warren LaRuth was incredible. He was a chemist, a chef, maybe you could argue maybe the greatest chef in New Orleans history, Warren LaRuth. And I should have asked Susan and Frank about something like that. Love to get their take, who they would think if they could narrow it down to one, a single chef. I may have to pop into Rosedale tonight, but then Bayona pulls me in that direction too. Just that basic little house salad they have, the dressing and the little flowers and everything. It's just outstanding. The bread at Bayona is off the charts. The bread at Bayona and the whipped butter. And I mentioned that I can't go to Bayona without ordering that shrimp with the coriander, the black bean cake, and the sour cream. It's just incredible. And I mentioned that lamb loin with the goat cheese, just crazy good. No, we're blessed in New Orleans. I'll tell you, the people is what makes New Orleans great. Just friendliness, people that are world-class talent. And they're just like, yeah, you're right. Just yaddy New Orleanians that are humble and laid back like Susan and Frank. We're blessed to live in this town. We just have to fix a bunch of ridiculous problems. The Nets and Pels play tonight at the Smoothie King Center. The NOPD is going to patrol the, quote, hot spots tonight. Hopefully, the criminals do come out that are breaking into cars and they get arrested. I think a lot of folks, especially folks that have left New Orleans for the suburbs, exurbs, but still live in the metro area, they think New Orleans, the city, New Orleans proper, is just a crime-ridden nightmare. And they I think in their imagination, like if you asked them They think it's thousands of criminals. I'll never forget looking at the FBI binder. It reminded me of my old doubloon, binder. About, 5 doubloons across the top, maybe 6 or 8 down. You got like 30 or 40 doubloons on each page. The FBI has a binder like that. And instead of doubloons, it's got the faces and the information, the names, date of birth, all that on the violent criminals in New Orleans. And it's just a few hundred, literally. If New Orleans could somehow make some type of sweep and arrest these 200 or 300 criminals that they know who they are by name. They know who they are. Crime would dramatically drop. Oliver Thomas. I don't think anyone on planet Earth would say Oliver Thomas is not a Democrat, is not liberal. Oliver Thomas, a native New Orleanian, has a very conservative take on crime. I mean, he's almost like a stop and frisk guy, proactive. Go get these criminals. I remember having Oliver on a few weeks ago. Corey, you see these cars around town that don't have the license plate. They're beat up, maybe a stolen vehicle. There's a criminal in that car. There are drugs or a gun in that car. I was like, wow, listen to Oliver Thomas. But no, we can't have this passive approach. We can't have this criminals first, citizens second, hyper woke mentality. We need to have citizens first. I'm not into arresting people for petty crimes. I'm not into this Louisiana for-profit jail system. We have the highest incarceration rate, one of the highest in the world. It's crazy. Like more per capita than North Korea or China in Louisiana. There's something wrong with that. There's something broken. The millionaire sheriffs in these rural areas that barely can formulate sentences or read and write, and they're millionaires because they run a for-profit jail. It's insane. So no, I think we need to be realistic. It's not one side or the other, but we need to have a very hyper-aggressive Oliver Thomas type method on attacking this crime, being proactive, going after the criminals. And yeah, I'm for not arresting folks for parking tickets or a joint or stuff like that. Don't have time for that. But boy, when I go on like a website of a judge in New Orleans and they have their old website from when they were running for that judgeship, and it's about, overcrowded jails and getting the criminals out. And it's like nothing about the citizens. I'm like, man, this hyper woke, loony liberal approach to crime fighting or being a judge does not work. I want to be fair and just, but that's the key. Justice, doing the right thing, justice. It can't be extreme right where you just kicking in doors and, man, I thought it was a criminal. You can't be doing that. And you can't have the extreme left where you're more concerned about the criminal than the citizens. We need some balance. I do like that the NOPD is going to control these hot spots. It took the Saints and the Pelicans to call the NOPD out, to call the city, to get with the mayor and the council, to call them, to proactively be like, hey, not only are we concerned, New York, Park Avenue, the NBA, the NFL, they're concerned. Future Super Bowls, future All-Star games are at stake. So, no, it's sad that, as usual, Gail Benson, the Saints, saving the city, they have to come forward and complain. It's like the NOLA Coalition. Have to come forward to tell the politicians to do what they're supposed to do. It's a joke. We've got to do better in New Orleans and Louisiana. We got to do better. Hey, every day on the radio, 4 to 6 o'clock. Every day on television, 4 to 5:30. 2 big hours on YouTube. 2 big hours on CoreyTalks.com live streaming. YouTube, Anchor, iTunes, Spotify. It's always brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex. Ronnie Lamarck from Araby Park doing you right. He's got the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner, of course. Ford dealership, Lincoln dealership. #1 in the region, both of them. $50 million invested in that state-of-the-art facility. On the car corner, Williams Boulevard and I-10, right on the corner, right on the price. And now, right across the parish, going from the lake to the river, Lamarck Crescent City Ford. That's right. Ronnie Lamarck has acquired the legendary Crescent City Ford truck dealership in Elmwood, Harahan, Jefferson Highway at Horde, right before Hickory. Every day, this program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex and now Lamarck Crescent City Ford. Typical Ronnie Lamarck from Araby Park, bridging the gap. What's that, Blue Boy? Susan Spicer and Frank made you hungry, and you don't want that kibble stuff. Would I eat the kibble? No, it's dog food, buddy. You seem to like it. I like it because that's what you feed me. I want a lamb loin from Bayonne. Wow, Blue Boy. Thank you, Jason. Thank you for listening and watching. Thank you, Blue Boy. 93.9 FM New Orleans.